Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Technical Writing for Dummies, 2nd edition, by Sheryl Lindsell-Roberts. Narrated by Emily Durante. Publisher's Note: in this audio edition, you will hear references to examples and tables present in the print and ebook formats of the book. Limit of liability, disclaimer of warranty. While the publisher and authors have used their best efforts in preparing this work, they make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this work, and specifically disclaim all warranties, including without limitation any implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales representatives, written sales materials, or promotional statements for this work. The fact that an organization, website, or product is referred to in this work as a citation and/or potential source of further information does not mean that the publisher and authors endorse the information or services the organization, website, or product may provide or recommendations it may make. This work is sold with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering professional services. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for your situation. You should consult with a specialist where appropriate. Further, readers should be aware that websites listed in this work may have changed or disappeared between when this work was written and when it is read. Neither the publisher nor authors shall be liable for any loss of profit or any other commercial damages, including but not limited to special, incidental, consequential, or other damages. Introduction. As a technical communicator, I am an enabler of information. Suyog Ketkar, Certified Technical Writer. Welcome to the 2nd edition of Technical Writing for Dummies, which will propel you into the exciting worlds of e-learning, collaboration tools, video conferencing, streaming, simulations, surfing, artificial intelligence, AI, virtual reality, VR, search engine optimization, SEO, user experience, UX writing, a zoom into the metaverse, and much more. About this book. To make the content easy to find and read, I divided it into 6 parts. Part 1, What it takes to write technical docs. This part takes you through the gratification of being a technical writer and discusses putting together a team. Part 2, The Right Stuff. This part introduces you to the technical writing brief to find out all you can about your learners. Following that, you discover how to write a draft, design for visual impact, hone the tone, and proofread and edit. This is the meat of the book, so you'll get the most out of it by reading these chapters in sequential order. Part 3, Frequently Written Docs. Here you find guidelines for writing whiz-bang user manuals and more, plus scripting for streaming and simulations, abstracts, spec sheets, questionnaires, technical presentations, and executive summaries. Part 4, Tech Tools. No technical writing book would be complete without focusing on the power of people, the computer, and the Internet. This part goes into details about team collaboration, video conferencing, e-learning, doing advanced online searches, and protecting intellectual property. Part 5, The Part of Tens. This part is a dummies classic. It includes a potpourri of tips on writing white papers and journal articles, as well as some frustrations of technical writers. Appendixes. The appendixes round out this book with sections on punctuation and grammar. Beyond the words, I practice what I preach and teach. I wrote this book in conversational language, much like I'd talk to you. I hope you'll learn by example and write your technical documents as if you're talking to your learners. This will make you and your writing relatable. Throughout this book, you see the following to emulate. Informative headlines and subheads. Bulleted and numbered lists. Straightforward conversational language. Short paragraphs. graphic elements, when they speak louder than words. Foolish assumptions. Before I began writing this book, I made some assumptions about you, the reader. I don't normally make assumptions because we all know what happens when we assume, us, you, me. However, I've thrown caution to the wind and guessed that you likely fit into one of these categories. You're an engineer, scientist, computer programmer, or IT specialist. You work in some other technical or medical field. You're a newbie writer or a seasoned technical writer. You're a college student who's entering a technical field or becoming a tech writer. You shake and grunt like an unbalanced clothes dryer when you're asked to write a technical document. Technical writers come from all walks of life: teachers, musicians, tradespeople, journalists, financial analysts, attorneys, scientists, researchers, and more. Technical writing services are sought worldwide and are in hot demand. So whether you're a technical person who finds that technical writing is something you must do to advance your career, or you're a professional technical writer looking to fine-tune your skills, this book is invaluable to your professional growth and survival. And that's a sensible assumption. Note about genders. The language of genders has evolved over time. Many of us have become accustomed to using she, her, hers for females and he, his, him for males. As gender vocabulary continues to evolve, it's proper to address a singular person as they, them, ze, or here. Many people now put their gender preferences in the signature blocks of their emails. Inclusive language offers respect, safety, and belonging to all people. This book uses this inclusive approach. Having said that, the Chicago Manual of Style, a staple reference for writers and editors since 1906, is watching the generic use of inclusive language, stating, "They and their have become common in informal usage, but neither is considered fully acceptable in formal writing." As you go through your technical writing projects, use good judgment and always consider your audience. Icons used in this book. Scattered throughout this book are icons that you will hear verbalized. They highlight valuable information that calls for your attention. Sheryl says, "Benefit from my experiences, the blissful, the painful, and everything in between." Technical writing brief. Don your Sherlock Holmes hat, scrutinize the technical writing brief, and gather all the clues you can about your readers. Tip. Find nifty tips for writing it so they'll read it. These may be time savers, frustration savers, life savers, or just about anything else. Remember, this is just what you'd expect. What else? Tidbits to remember. Warning. Ouch! Avoid these pitfalls to save yourself headaches, heartburn, embarrassments, or worse. Cross-reference. Check out another section of the book for related content. Beyond the book. In addition to the material in the book you're listening to right now, this product also comes with some goodies you can access on the web. Check out the free access anywhere cheat sheet that includes tips and advice. To get this cheat sheet, simply go to dummies.com and type Technical Writing for Dummies cheat sheet in the search box. The cheat sheet is a blank technical writing brief, which you can use to jumpstart all writing projects. Share the brief with your team and keep a copy on your computer, tablet, and smartphone for handy reference. Where to go from here? I realize you won't read this book like a suspenseful mystery novel from cover to cover, but I strongly suggest that you read Part 2, Chapters 3 through 7, sequentially. Good technical writing is a process of understanding your learners, writing the draft, designing for visual impact, honing the tone, and proofreading and editing. These chapters offer the foundation for a wide variety of technical documents, many of which appear in this book. After that, feel free to jump around to whatever topic interests you or applies to the writing challenges you face. 1. What it takes to write technical docs. In this part, develop a strategic approach to technical writing, produce impactful documents, learn how to create a portfolio, and discover tech writing career trajectories. Put together the best team, develop your plan, choose the delivery method, and complete a production schedule and outline. Chapter 1. Working as a Technical Writer. In this chapter, discovering who writes technical documents, understanding how business and technical documents differ, creating a portfolio and business cards, learning about different career trajectories. I didn't go to film school. My grandpa always says just watch a lot of movies. He didn't go to film school. He went to theater school. It's interesting to learn about the technical side of it, but I think it's more important to learn about writing and working with actors. Gia Coppola, granddaughter of Francis Ford Coppola. Although formal training in technical writing may be helpful, you don't need it any more than Francis Ford Coppola needed film school to become one of the most successful figures of Hollywood filmmaking. What you need is a love of learning, an attention to detail, a good command of the English language, an understanding of how people use and process information, the ability to manage tasks and work well as part of a team. If you arranged your alphabet soup into acronyms when you were a kid, you constantly asked why when people told you to stop asking questions, or you sent Santa lists with headings and subheadings, you're a natural-born technical writer. Technical writers spring from all walks of life. People who write technical documents come from all walks of life, and most aren't technical writers per se. Here are some actual situations of people who were called upon to write technical documents in the course of their professions. Computer programmer. Octavia graduated with a degree in computer science and was hired as a software developer for a company. Several months later, the company felt a financial pinch and laid off the technical writers. Octavia had a big deliverable due in a few months, and her supervisor told her that she had to write a user manual. Sophomore English, which Octavia struggled through and loathed, didn't prepare her for this type of assignment. After all, Shakespeare wasn't a technical sort of guy. Poor Octavia had to muddle through writing the user manual and got gray hair prematurely. Manufacturing specialist. Bill worked for a manufacturing company for many years and developed a piece of equipment that was expected to revolutionize the industry. The equipment made its debut in Germany at the industry's largest conference. Bill's supervisor asked him to deliver a paper, the industry term for making a technical presentation, at the conference. The audience would consist of more than 200 high-level industry professionals. Not only did Bill fear the podium more than the dentist's drill, he didn't know how to prepare or deliver a technical paper, especially in a foreign country for an audience of this caliber. Biotech scientist. While working at a pharmaceutical company, Abdul had a major breakthrough on a treatment that promised to prevent baldness. The company president asked him to write an article for a major medical journal. Although Abdul was flattered by the president's request, he didn't know the first thing about writing or submitting a technical article. Sales representative. Lynette was a sales representative for a worldwide computer distributor. She'd often be away from home for weeks at a time. After 15 years as a road warrior, Lynette suffered from burnout. She used to leave her picture on the fireplace mantel so that her family wouldn't forget what she looked like. Lynette had been reading about the burgeoning field of tech writing. She called a local college, got all the literature, and decided to pursue a degree in technical writing. Sheryl says, "Although I changed the names to protect the innocent, scenarios such as these are typical. Technical people who aren't trained writers are constantly asked to write technical documents. Their education and work experience rarely prepare them for this type of challenge. This book can help bridge the gap. Bright and exciting futures for tech writers. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released its annual Occupational Handbook for Technical Writers. It predicts that job growth in this field is expected to outpace the national average for all other occupations. This is due in part to the growing high-tech and electronics industries that are embracing the value of superior quality technical communications, paving the way to solve problems more quickly and easily by intersecting the human experience with the digital world. Documentation is part of our everyday lives. Whether you realize it or not, documentation is part of our everyday lives, both personal and business. When you buy a new piece of electronics, it comes with instructions. When you buy a DIY, do-it-yourself, furniture kit, it comes with assembly instructions. When you get a prescription for medication, it comes with a leaflet on how often to take the medication and what the side effects may be. Documents are written for all of us, not just for computer geeks who assemble rockets or plasma generators. And it's not just the computer geeks who write technical documents. All technical people do at some point in their careers. Technical writing means different things to different people. It covers the fields of electronics, aircraft, computer manufacturing and software development, chemical, biotech, pharmaceuticals, health, and much more. It spans the public and private sectors, as well as government and academic institutions. The humble beginnings of tech writing. Technical writing as we know it today took root in World War II, when the U.S. military persuaded those who served to write manuals to aid the war effort. The military needed to teach soldiers about weapons, transport vehicles, and other hardware. These technical writers had little or no training. They just sat down at their manual typewriters and banged out whatever made sense to them. I don't know whether it made sense to the poor soldiers trying to decipher their writing, but we did win the war. Technical writing differs from business writing. Many people ask the difference between business writing and technical writing. The difference is analogous to apples and watermelon. For example, at the very core, pardon the pun, apples and watermelons are fruits, and at the very core, documents and words are graphics. Beyond the core, business and technical documents are different species. Documents of the business kind. Emails are the crux of business writing and account for as much as 90% of all business communication. Other types of business writing include letters, reports, blog posts, articles, and more. One major difference between business and technical documents is that business documents are generally written by one person, often for a single learner or a small select group of learners. Following are some commonly written business documents: agendas, emails, letters, meeting minutes, proposals. Documents of the technical kind. People in specialized fields write documents that relate to technical or complex subjects. Unlike business documents, technical documents are often a collaborative effort between a technical writer, UX writer, subject matter expert, SME, editor, and others. Technical documents are generally intended for a vast number of learners. Following are some commonly written technical documents. You find chapters about the specifics of writing each of these documents later in this book. Abstracts. Articles for publication. E-learning. Executive summaries. Functional and detail specifications. Online help. Questionnaires. Reports. User manuals. Assigning responsibility for technical documents. The responsibility for writing technical documents depends on a company's structure and resources. Following are several ways that companies typically generate technical documents. Technical gurus. Engineers, software developers, and others write their own documents. Some of these people may have taken writing courses, but most have no training in writing a cohesive document. These technical writers often overlook steps in the process. They write what's obvious to them, and they often haven't identified the needs of their learners. These same gurus may draft documents and then turn the drafts over to technical writers to edit, format, and polish. Unless the technical writer has an opportunity to learn the subject matter intimately, many of the steps that may have been overlooked by the gurus aren't identified by the writer or editor. This process does, however, produce a document that may be more pleasing to the eye. A technical writer is called in from the onset of a project. The writer works with the developer who's the subject matter expert, SME. They work as a collaborative team, each adding their expertise to the project. This approach is the best of all possible worlds. It's about strategy, not software. Anyone who writes technical documents must understand how critical it is to take a strategic approach. For example, if you design a custom home, do you first call someone to wield a hammer? Of course not. A hammer is merely a tool. To design a custom home, you call an architect, a trained professional who designs layout, renders plans for the plumbing, electrical, and heating systems, and provides the structure. Then you call someone with a hammer. The same holds true in technical writing. Effective technical documents require an information architect, a technical writer. Whether this person is a professional technical writer or an engineer or software developer who writes technical documents, this person must plan, design, and provide logical structure. Anyone can learn to use the software to create the document. Much like the hammer, software is merely a tool. The key to writing a great document is strategy, not software. Sheryl says, "Someone once told me that they wouldn't make a good technical writer because they can't even use jumper cables to rev up an ailing car battery." Remember that technical writing isn't about jumper cables or about understanding every aspect of the technical and scientific communities. And it isn't about knowing every nuance of the latest software application. Very few people have that broad a knowledge base. Technical writing is about using strategy and resources to write clear, accurate, and logical documents. If you apply a logical strategy and avail yourself of resources, you can write just about anything, from using your Instant Pot to assembling a jet engine. What you need to succeed. Following is a snapshot of what it takes to write clear and understandable technical documents. Show respect for your learners. You must always write with respect for your learners. Write with a positive attitude, not with arrogance. I've heard technical writers speak of their learners arrogantly, with remarks such as, "We don't write these documents for idiots. If they're that stupid, they shouldn't be using this product." Well, excuse me. Even the brightest humanoid may experience confusion when presented with something entirely new. Pay keen attention to details. You show your keen eye for detail in the way you think about what you write. I recently saw a resume from someone who was applying for a position as a technical writer. Check out these vague, bulleted items I extracted from that person's resume. Contributing writer to city newspaper. Which newspaper? What do they write about? Did they contribute weekly, bi-monthly, monthly? Generated technical reports. What do they mean by generated? Did they write the report or merely click the print button and spew it out? This writer wasn't able to identify the details that a potential employer would want answered. Therefore, it was obvious that this person couldn't identify the details learners would need. You must be able to anticipate the questions your learners will ask, and you must answer them. Technical writing brief. Know your learners and their requirements. Unlike a piece of communication you may write for a specific learner, you often write technical documents for a diverse group of learners. You must understand their needs in order to determine how you write the document and whether print or electronic media is appropriate, or whether streaming or simulations may work better. Check out Chapter 3 for information on understanding your learners by using the Technical Writing Brief. Cross-reference. Collaborative efforts. To tweak John Donne's famous quote, "No tech writer is an island," even if you're the only tech writer on your project, you'll work with people inside or outside the organization, SMEs, editors, publication and/or electronic specialists, and end users. Chapters 2 and 14 talk about what it takes to work collaboratively. Demonstrate the ability to Lego your ego. Last but not least, you must be able to leave your ego at the door. Your finished document will often be very different from your original draft. Everyone who reviews the document will feel compelled to pick up a pen and mark it up. It's all part of the process, the need to make a contribution. So be prepared to have your work edited, re-edited, and perhaps ripped to shreds. There's no chapter on the ladder. Just smile a lot and mumble to yourself. Seeing is believing. As mentioned earlier in this chapter, we come in contact with technical documents in our daily lives. Some documents are well written, others leave us scratching our heads and wrinkling our brows. What's the difference? Cross-reference. Following are before and after cases that give you a chance to look at two different approaches for writing and presenting information. I took each before case from an actual document where the writer buried the key information. Each after case shows an improved version where the key information jumps out. Check out Chapter 5 to discover how to visually prepare technical documents that call the learner's attention to the key issues at a glance. Case 1. The United States Air Force tabulated the weight of 80 officers. Following are key questions learners may have. What's the median weight? What's the highest weight? What's the lowest weight? Before document. The chart, found in the print and ebook formats of this book, is from the ESD Process Improvement Guide prepared by the Electronic System Division, Air Force Systems Command, Hanscom Air Force Base, Massachusetts. It displays the weights of the 80 officers in column format. The learner must search through all 80 numbers to answer the questions. After. The distribution of the data in the form of a histogram shows the answers to the learner's questions at a glance. Case 2. The U.S. Department of Transportation wrote a Transit Security Procedures Guide. Key issues in the following paragraph would be: what action must authorities take to prevent similar incidents? The before paragraph buries this information. The after paragraph creates bullets to call attention to it. Before document. Training must include the sensitive handling of complaints and reports of offenses. Although these offenses are not actual assaults, there are victims. Authorized personnel must respond in a manner that leads the victim to believe that a similar incident will never happen again. This includes taking immediate action to apprehend the offender, taking information from the victim that may lead to arrest and prosecution, and notifying the police. After document. Training must include the sensitive handling of complaints and reports of offenses. Although these offenses are not actual assaults, there are victims. Authorized personnel must respond in a manner that leads the victim to believe that a similar incident will never happen again. This includes bullet, taking immediate action to apprehend the offender. Bullet, taking information from the victim that may lead to arrest and prosecution. Bullet, notifying the police. Case 3. Learners of this technical report want one question answered. What are the findings? In the before case, the learner must read through an entire paragraph to find the answer. In the after case, the answer is part of the headline and identifiable at a glance. Before document. The engineering analysis and observation did provide significant information. Review of the data indicates that at 10 and 12...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?